I'll tell you a story. The story about Mufasa, a lion who would change our lives forever.
Hey Nat Geo, Bertie Gregory here, wildlife filmmaker, and I'm very excited to be chatting all things lions with Barry Jenkins, the director of Disney's new film, Mufasa, the Lion King.
Nice to meet you, Bertie.
Good to chat with you. So lions are a huge passion of mine, and I've been fortunate enough to film them in the wild several times. I get the impression lions are now a huge passion of yours. What can you tell us about the new film?
The story of Mufasa the Lion King tells the story of Mufasa and Scar, these brothers we know very well, or assume we knew very well, for the last 30 years. And what it does is goes back and tells the story of how these brothers met, how they grew together, and ultimately how they grew apart.
I have a secret, Mufasa. I always wanted a brother.
I think what really struck me about the film was not only how visually, photorealistic the lions are, but also how they move so accurately. I mean, it's clear that you did your homework.
Yeah.
What's that process like? How do you prepare to make a film like this and make the lions look real?
People have been commenting on how expressive the lions are. We have this whole library of lion photography, and anytime there was a movement for one of the characters to do in the film, we could reference that movement in the wild. It was great to have to learn that language and then recreate it in a way that it was still had a fidelity to the way lions actually move, but also was discernible for human beings. They could understand that that lion's scared now, or that lion's being bold. They're overcoming a fear.
It goes beyond the movement, though. It's also the vocalizations.
I am talking to the right person.
I think lots of people think that lions go around going rah, roaring, but actually they only make that noise in aggression very rarely.
Mm-hmm.
The noise that they make most often, particularly the males, that territorial call, that
As the animation starts to come together, we are layering those sounds over the dialogue. So sometimes the characters expressing themselves in English, say for the American version of the film, but then there's that like blended with the sound. And depending on the actor, Mads Mikkelsen, who plays Kyros, he's got a very deep guttural voice.
The circle is broken. There will be one Lion King.
There are times where he's expressing himself and it's like, rah, and it was just so lovely to find all those different things. And thank you, because you know what the real sound is like, for that compliment.
There's another lion over there. Hear it calling.
What has filming lions throughout your career taught you about these incredible animals?
I think one of the biggest things is that most of the time they don't do a whole bunch. They spend a huge amount of time sleeping, and that's, I think, often misinterpreted as them being lazy, when actually it's anything but. It's smart.
Did you laugh at that line in the film?
Yeah.
We protect the pride as we nap.
Exactly. If you're roaming around your territory, you're alerting all your prey to your presence.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you sit still, next to a bush, you're kind of camouflaged.
Yeah.
Well, you let your food come to you. It's smart. But then when they get up, they are the most extraordinary animals. And not just in their individual ability, but strength of pride, the power of the pride.
And there's something really wonderful about watching them live out these social dynamics, these social principles. You wouldn't think they would be relatable, but as you know through your work, they're very relatable.
I think a lot of people know that rhinos are in trouble because they're being very aggressively poached for their horns. What a lot of people don't know is that there are less lions left in Africa than there are rhinos. They are incredibly powerful animals, but incredibly fragile. In 1994, when the first Lion King came out, there were 40,000 lions.
Wow.
And since then, that population's halved, and it's continuing to go down. What I do understand is that the huge platform that you have, you're using it to try and do something about that.
Yeah, we are. Disney has this really wonderful relationship with Protect the Pride, which is involved in conservation, preserving the numbers, and hopefully boosting the numbers of the lion population on the continent. A story like this brings so much visibility, and visibility can be such an important tool to the preservation of all species, but in these lions in particular, because like you said, they look somewhat majestic and intimidating, and yet when you really get to study them, when you really get to know them, you see they have these ecosystems, these circles of life, and those things need to be preserved as well.
Destiny awaits you.
What do you hope people take away from watching this film?
One of the biggest things is this idea of good and evil. Mufasa has always been very good, and Scar has always been only evil. And yet, because we get to go back in time and meet these characters when they were children, I hope to sort of have audiences look into these assumptions they've made about these two characters and come out with a more complex meaning.
I'm here to protect you, my brother.
Mufasa, run!
Also, too, near the end of the film, there's this thing that happens where all these tribes come together and they unite for a common purpose. I think maybe in some way, we were talking about conservation and protect the pride earlier, maybe just by seeing these animals and all their splendor and seeing hopefully the value of a shared community and building the circle of life, to protect them all, maybe that can inspire people to really take seriously the role of conservation.
Wild places, the future of them is totally up to us, and that's going to take people coming together.
Go, Mufasa. Find your place in the circle of life.
Disney's Mufasa the Lion King is in theaters this Friday.